Well, hello! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the slightly rebranded channel in which today I am going to do a quick review of the first volume of Fritz Leiber's Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser Sword and Sorcery series, which I've been reading. I'm reading in Spanish. Normally, I would have read it in English, but in my other channel, I got roped into another read-along of which I don't need anymore. I'm trying to clear up all the backlog of books that I've got to read, but people keep inviting me, and I keep not saying no, which is a problem. I've got books that have been sitting on the shelf there since last year. People ask me for reviews and stuff. I try my best to say no. Sometimes I can't, but I'm getting there. But anyway, I digress. So, Fritz Leiber, sort of pulp, sort of pre-World War II, post-World War II writer of Sword and Sorcery stories, plus other stuff, and member of the Howard Phillips Lovecraft Circle of writers that they used to write extensive letters to each other, alongside with Robert T. Howard and August Derleth and Frank Belknap Long, a few others. So for a time, Fritz Leiber exchanged letters with Lovecraft. Lovecraft was a bit of an influence on him. Not that he wrote in the mythos world, but writing style maybe sort of helped him along. So what we have here in this edition that I'm reading in Spanish is the first three stories. So we are introduced to the characters of Fafhrd, which is your sort of quintessential northern on the snows barbarian, and the Grey Mouser, which is like in Dungeons and Dragons terms, it's like a multi-class warrior, thief, wizard type thing. The first story here introduces us only to the character of Fafhrd in the cold snows of the north. The second story introduces us to the Grey Mouser, where he's a sort of warlock wizard apprentice, and stuff happens. And in the third story, the two meet and start working together. They're not working, they steal stuff, they rob stuff, they kill people, working together. So, I was very pleasantly surprised, because Sword and Sorcery, typically, and because I'm not the most well-read person in the world, I largely associated it to the Robert T. Howard Conan stories, which I've read them all, and the Moorcock's Elric of Melniboné, which I've read the whole saga. I've done reviews in the channel. I may leave links in the description below. But what I found is that those sort of pulpy stories from the 30s were more like for entertainment consumption purposes and kind of lacked deeper themes, or maybe I was too stupid to pick them up. Whereas here, I found those deeper themes that I really appreciate. So I don't mind. I really enjoyed the whole adventure, story, fantasy world and all the stuff, but if there's something a little bit deeper to sink my teeth in, I really appreciate that. And I wasn't expecting it, and I found it here. Which means I may at some point pick up the rest of the volumes in this collection, because you know, you're going to have different editions of this series. It makes no sense. So the books, the stories have got something, particularly these first three, have got something to say about the male-female relationship, the human condition, the extent to which men will do things for women, or for the promise of what women hold between their legs, perhaps, right? That sort of thing. And the sort of power that women have over men with promise of the secret of what they hold between, right? Something like that. And then it's all a bit Freudian as well, with Fafhrd, with the relationship with his mother and stuff like that. So I did enjoy the fact that it's got something to say about the human condition, the male condition, the female condition. Maybe this is up for a discussion at some point. So if anyone has read the stories or is looking to read them and wants to join in or organize a chat, bit of a conversation, I'm more than up for it. It's a very nice, easy read. The prose is not difficult or complicated. The world building goes as far as you can world build in 3 stories in 225 pages, but nothing screeches. There was nothing that I thought, oh, that's really childish or infantile. Maybe, like, like at the beginnings of every genre of or everything, things are a little bit lame. Like, the early computer games are a little bit lame. The early novels in the fantasy genre maybe are a little bit lame, and at least here there was nothing of that. The world, the characters were consistent, and it didn't do stupid, silly things like in Elric, where you have an army of blind soldiers. Because, right, so I really enjoyed it, and if I was to make a ranking of these sort of sword and sorcery genre, of which I haven't read that much, I would put Elric at the bottom, Conan in the middle, and Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser, even though I've only read the first 3 stories and I'm basing my opinion on that, at the top. And then, because it's a translation, I would have liked to have checked the original in English, because at one point one of the characters is describing the world of this city as and the translation in Spanish, it doesn't say espada y brujería, which is the translation of sword and sorcery, but something very, very similar. So I think in the original text, I would like to find that moment to see if actually the label sword and sorcery for the genre comes from here, because it is attributed to Leiber, but much later on in his life, and I think that maybe perhaps that expression first appears in here. But if you know for sure, please please clear this up for me in the comments below. And this was an unexpected review. I wasn't prepared for today. I wasn't going to make, but it just happened. So really, possibly very well worth a read in between chunkier books. Obviously it's a series, so it needs to be read in order, but most enjoyable, a very pleasant surprise. So that's all I have for today, everyone. Thank you ever so much for watching. Take loads and loads of care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.